All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Lured In Podcast. Today you got myself, Noah, Jared, Garrett, and Crofty all hanging out with us today. First off, I want to start by thanking Air Range Custom Rods. They're awesome ice rods we use. Go give them a check. Go give them a look. They're super, super high quality. We wouldn't use them if we didn't believe them, and they're at affordable cost. Today, we're going to talk about replicas and real mounts. What do we think when we talk about getting a replica of a fish or getting a real fish, taking that fish out of the lake? I know I have my opinion, just like I have my opinion on just about everything. I'm sure these guys do too. But we'll get this rolling. Crafty, what do you think? What do you think when you think of mounting a fish?
Okay. So I have two things. Okay. So it's your responsibility to take the best care of the fish that you possibly can. If you catch a 30-inch walleye, I really hope you don't keep it to eat it. I mean, that's a trophy fish. That's not a fish that would taste good. It's not worth keeping just to eat. So if you were to catch a 30, I would really, oh geez, that light's weird. I really hope that you would consider mounting it. Okay, so that's that piece. It's your responsibility to keep the fish as healthy as it can be. So, in my opinion, if you catch a 30-inch walleye and you decide to mount it, okay, fine. You need to be responsible about it and do all the necessary precautions to keep that fish alive, to release it and get a picture mount or a replica mount. So the reason why I say that is that I was looking at a Cabela's magazine just the other day, and there was a taxidermist ad in it, and a replica fish was cheaper than the real one per inch and minimum. Because if you didn't know, to replicate a fish, it's like a $220 minimum plus like $15 or something for every inch the fish is. So that would be a replica mount. An actual mount is more expensive than the replica. So if you possibly can, get a replica mount. But if you unfortunately happen to kill the fish when you're measuring it, taking pictures and stuff, just get the real one because you just don't want to waste it. That's my 2 cents.
And I think that's probably changed. I don't know what it was 5 years ago, but I have a feeling replicas were more expensive when they first started making them, right, than the real fish.
Yeah, that
People,
could be, but I mean, the magazine came in the mail like within the past week.
I
So
think I think typically, even still today, I don't know about maybe that's just one certain specific business, but typically a replica is going to be more expensive. I think.
yeah, I
I
don't know
think
for
it is.
sure. I haven't looked around. I know it depends on who does it. Um, and with replicas, I mean, just with anything with mounting, some people are better than others. Not that most of these guys are very, very good at what they do, but some definitely are better than others. And doesn't always reflect on the price. I've seen some that are $10.50 an inch, and they're some of the best ones I've ever seen. And then, like Crofty said, maybe it's $15 an inch. So it depends on the species too, on how much it is. But we're speaking of walleye terms, just because I think that's what a lot of people think in. We'll go over too on what size fish we think would be good for mounting here after this. But I'll just give my opinion real quick on what I think it is. And Crofty touched on it at the end. If the fish dies, I'm a little more sympathetic because you don't, like Crofty said, you don't want to waste it. And if it's a fish that you were going to mount and consider mounting and you weren't going to eat it, then you better darn go get a replica of that real fish, right? But I'm a huge proponent for replicas. One, I think they look way better. I think they look way better. They're easier to paint, from what I know. They're way easier to paint, and they last longer. I mean, you don't have real scales of a fish sitting on your wall. It's literally paint and some sort of foam, I think, that they make it out of. But in my opinion, replicas are nicer. They look better. They last longer, and they're relatively the same price depending upon where you go. And that fish gets to go live another day, whether you get to catch it again or let somebody else catch a trophy fish and be super, super happy. And I think that's the big reason why I would let it go is taking good care of it and letting it go is you give somebody else that opportunity too to catch that trophy fish.
Hey guys, so I'm just researching just taxidermies quick. And this is one that I just found. I have no idea if it's in Minnesota. I don't know. I don't have a clue about it. But it says that a skin mount fish is $275 minimum for $16 an inch.
Holy cow.
Okay.
That's pricey.
And a replica fish is a $400 minimum with $25 per inch.
Holy man.
Okay,
That's
so
crazy.
let's talk about that real quick. Are we saying that, Jared, I know that in your basement you have those couple fish that you mounted that were your first fish, or like your dad did it or whatever. So say that was a skin mount fish and it's a $270 minimum. Do you pay that $75 plus every inch that the fish is? Or is it because those fish that you have in your basement, if it's $16 an inch, that doesn't equal 275? Because what are those, like maybe 13, 14-inch walleyes?
Yeah, they're probably 13, 14s. No, I
That
mean,
wouldn't equal $75. So would it be just? I guess I'm kind of confused. You know what I mean?
yeah, I get what you're saying. You're breaking it out, by the way. But I got your question. So I think that then it just cuts up to the minimum. To my knowledge, it just cut. If it doesn't reach the length requirement, and what Crawford's referring to is my dad got my brothers, my sisters, and then my first walleyes mounted. They're real mounts. But I'm guessing if people, I don't know if they had a minimum back then or what they did, but if a company has a minimum, I'm guessing that if you don't meet that length requirement, it's just going to be that minimum. Which
website.
I don't know. Like I kind of lean both ways. I don't really have a decision on this one. I guess the only thing would say if the fish is healthy, I feel like you should get a replica solely based on, like Noah said, to let someone else have an opportunity to catch it. Plus, like Noah said, Noah and I kind of view this the same way. Replicas tend to look better, and I can almost guarantee you they last longer for sure. So yeah, they might be more expensive, but you're going to have to pay to get the real skin mount repainted or whatever sooner. And I mean, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, I have 6 real skin mounts in my basement. Only one of them's mine, but when I got that real skin mount, I was 10. Hey, it ain't that. I'll show the camera. Don't be telling it it's small. That's a good fish.
That's not yours.
Yeah, it is.
I'm kidding. I was talking about your
That's-
first one.
that's my-
That's like a 13,
That's my
14.
pathetic biggest walleye in my life still to this day. I was 10 years old, 26.5 inches. Can't get any bigger. They don't
That's
think
okay.
they don't grow big enough.
Oh, okay. No, I just looked up one too that I'm familiar with, and it was $12 an inch for all species except for bluegills and crappies. All species except for crappies, sunfish, and perch. Those are at $160, just flat rate. And then replicas were $17 an inch, so they're $5 an inch more expensive.
No minimum.
$225 minimum on the replica, no minimum on the other fish.
Really?
So that's you're most of the time you're gonna pay more for a replica, but they last longer.
Yep.
And
Well, see, I think
like you
kind of
said,
guy that specifically does replicas. I wouldn't doubt it's probably around that $15 range, I would say.
mhm.
I
And
think.
another opinion I have on it is, even if you're getting whatever way you lean, that's your decision. You can do whatever you want. But if you're getting a skin mount, I mean, you're going to want to take a ton of pictures anyway, because if you're not bringing it right to that taxidermist, you're going to lose color in places of the fish. So you're going to want to take good pictures and good measurements anyway. So at that point, you already have all the pictures and stuff to get the replica. So why not just release the fish? I don't know. That's my whole thing, is that you're giving someone else the joy that you had in catching that giant fish and how you were probably screaming and swearing and everything. You're going to give someone else that opportunity. So that's why I would go with replica. But I would also say I have I would get replicas. I'm more partial to getting replicas towards walleyes than if someone gets a real mount or a replica on a crappie. Like I'd much rather them get a replica for a big walleye than a big crappie. But that's just because, in my opinion, big giant walleyes are less common, depending on where you live, I guess.
Mhm.
But that's
Garrett,
just
what do you think?
from where I live. I'd be much happier if someone got a replica of a walleye than a replica of a crappie, I guess. Does that make sense?
Garrett, what do you think?
Garrett, what are your opinions?
I haven't really seen too many replicas, so I can't really judge what a replica would look like compared to a skin mount. But I mean, I do like a skin mount because it is the actual fish, and there is no misjudging it from like a replica being painted. But I get the whole point on having a replica too, because I know for sure they last longer. I mean, my cousin's had one for I think like 25 years, and it's starting to peel back on the backside, which he's already got it redone once. So with a replica, you don't have to get them redone unless the paint fades, I guess. But you probably won't have the pictures for it anymore. But I mean, I can see it both ways. I mean, you also have too if the fish is gonna you get it like the 28 inch that I caught on Lake of the Woods, and we weren't sure if it was gonna go back down or not. You know, trying to get it to go for 5 minutes or so. But I mean, I can see it there getting the skin mount then, because I mean, I'd rather keep it and mount it than have it float underneath the ice
True.
too.
That's very
And
true.
I would say I think we're all that I think we all have that opinion that if it's gonna die, don't just let it go. I
Yeah.
mean, like that doesn't make sense. So if it's a fish that you were thinking about getting mounted or whatever and it dies on you, I mean, like then why wouldn't you? I mean, I guess you could still get a replica, but me personally, like Crofty said, what are you going to eat, a 28, 29-inch walleye? That doesn't even really sound good. Sounds kind of gross to be
So
honest.
here's another point I kind of want to bring up on it. And Garrett, we can use your 28-inch for example. Maybe somebody isn't in a financial situation to bring that fish in right away. And you can get a replica down the road whenever you want. Like, right, I caught a rainbow trout 2 winters ago now, 2 Februarys ago, and I'm probably going to get a replica of it.
Yeah, you
I'm
need to get
just-
a replica of that.
Yeah, the thing was sweet, and out of a stock mine pit, and had the coolest colors I've ever seen on a rainbow. And anyway, I'm gonna get a replica of it, but I'm a year and a half later, and I'm still haven't done it. So I have that option with replica. You can do it whenever you want. You don't have to. You don't have to do it right then and there when you catch it. So that's another point I want to bring up, that you can wait with replicas where you can't with real ones.
No, what is the chance you have the picture of that fish on your computer?
I have it on my phone, not on my computer.
Pull it up.
I will.
It's a crazy colors on it.
Yeah, it was sweet. It was 18 and a half inches by 11 and a quarter girth. And like you said, crazy colors on it. And I'm definitely going to amount the specific body of water we were fishing. We have never caught a fish that big in it. The biggest one we caught was like 13-inch rainbow, and they're little dinkies. Oh, bad. Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's probably not gonna do the color of it justice, but
No, it won't. Is that one going to do a little bit better?
oh yeah, right there it does a little better. You can see it
And
a little bit. You can see.
I'll probably turn my phone brightness down and it'll help. But yeah, that was awesome. I was on the phone with Garrett, actually. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. I was on the phone with Garrett when I caught that one, and I almost lost my phone in the snow because I threw it, and I was when I saw it come up the hole. But there goes my point there again. Like you can do that later on down the road. And I guess I'll tell a little bit on how I want to do it, since we're talking about mounts and whatnot. I got these, thanks to Garrett, these slate old mine rocks since I caught it out of an old mine pit, put it on that with that, I don't know, mean looking rainbow trout face on it. I think it'd be cool. Probably cost me a pretty penny. That's why I've waited a while, but
Well, I think that's the main reason why, like, I would say that's the main reason why I'd get a replica, is because regardless of which one you get, you're going to be paying a decent price for it. Like, they're not cheap to do. They're pretty
Mhm.
expensive, honestly. And if I'm going to be spending that much, I'm not going to want in 10 years to have to bring it back to the guy, or however long it takes. I don't know, but I don't want to have to bring it back to him and have him pay more to repaint it. I'd much rather pay more up front and know I'm getting something good.
That's
exactly.
one other thing to bring up too is how many people are even doing it these days. Say
Yeah,
15 years ago, quite a few people there was even shops where people were bringing stuff into. Now it's your average Joe down in his basement doing it or something, you know?
But a lot of the guys that do it are very passionate about it, and they do really, really good jobs.
Yeah, one thing is too is takes time,
Takes a lot of time.
long time
Yeah.
to get them. My brother, he's getting his goose back this weekend, and that's been gone for a year and a half.
It all depends on how much they have. Like my whitetail I have on the wall, that one was 9 months, I think. And then, like you said, your brother's a year and a half. It's usually, on average, it's about a year.
My my skin mount walleye took almost 3.
Really?
Yep. I couldn't believe it took that long, but yeah, it did. I don't know if the guy was that busy or what, but like I said, I was like 10, and I think I got it just before I turned 13, I think.
Wow.
But no, it took a long time. It looks
Oh.
good, though. Look, whoever did it, I don't know who did it, but whoever did it, they did a really good job.
Good.
But, yeah.
Um,
I used to, the one time I was out there, I caught it on Vermilion, out of McKinley when we were ice fishing. And like I said, I was 10, so I don't know. My dad was fishing. My dad left the ice house for some reason. I don't know if he was going to the bathroom or what. And I set the hook, and it didn't even give me a real fight was the main thing. And I pulled it up, and I asked my dad if it was a bass.
Jared, you
oh,
still ask us that question.
yeah.
Man.
Like the sucker you hooked through the tail. Probably
Hey,
the biggest
man.
walleye he's ever seen.
I thought that was the biggest fish of my life. I was literally up at my cabin, so people can hear the story. And I was fishing by a place where decent amount of rocks, and there's a little stream that flows into it, but I kind of call it Snag City because there's a lot of rocks and a lot of trees, so I get snagged there all the time. So I was fishing it, and I set the hook into a fish, and I've caught a decent amount of walleyes there before. So I set the hook, and I was like, oh my, this is a good fish. Like this is going to beat my 26.5 for sure. This is really ripping. Pull and drag left and right, and I'm like, holy man, I finally get it up to the boat, and the thing jumps in the water, and I can see my jig in its tail and then it darts again, and I'm trying to get it, and then I can tell you one time, there's never been a time in my life where I'm like, oh, sweet, a sucker. Never. Same thing with a burbot. Never.
I have
Never.
multiple times with both fish, but that's just me.
I was mad. I wasn't pleased. I thought I had a 28 plus for sure. It comes up and it was a decent sized sucker. I'll give it that. It was pretty big, but not what I wanted. I should have mounted it.
There you go.
Should have mounted
Yeah.
it and then put my jig through the tail. That would have actually been a pretty creative mount.
Would have been really creative. So I guess that's kind of our take. So short and sweet on what we think of replicas versus real mount. But I think we're all kind of in the same boat on we like replicas and we would probably go with them. Gary, you're the only one that's probably on the edge of either way, but I think you'd go replica, wouldn't you?
Yeah, if I had the choice, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
where if the fish was gonna die, I'd probably just get a skin mount because
Yeah. And that's part of it too, is handling that fish. When you know you have a big fish on, and any time I get a fish that I know I'm not keeping, it is either instant in and out of the water, or I keep that net in the summer anyways. I'm keeping my net in the water as long as I possibly can. I yell at you guys not to take the net out of the water sometimes, even with it's a fish we might keep. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah, that's one thing we've learned is when you have a big fish like that, either there's a couple of things. Like Noah says, either keep the net in the water, or as soon as you know you have a big fish like that on that you might be handling for a little while, flip on the live well, throw it in the
Yeah.
live well for a little bit.
As long as it's in
It's
water. I mean, you're not leaving it in the
keep it
live
in the
well.
water.
Yep. You're
It's-
not leaving it in the live well for an hour or anything like that. You're leaving it in there for 3-4 minutes at most. So you can put that on or leave it in the net over the side of the boat, depending on how many people you have in your boat.
Yeah. And a lot of people, they don't think that, especially in the summer. I know in ice fishing we preach a lot. If you're going to be measuring fish, make sure you're keeping them dipped in the water because they're going to freeze. But in the summer, people don't really think about it as much. But it's all about the amount of stress you're putting on that fish. So
That's a big
keeping it
part of
out of water and hanging onto it by the gills for how long while you're measuring it, measuring girth, and taking a bunch of pictures isn't ideal for it. So either keep it in the net or put it in a live well, something. If you're not looking to keep it, make sure you put that fish under as little stress as possible.
Exactly. And then ice fishing, anyways, if you're going to keep a fish, hold it in the water as long as you can. I know your hand's going to get cold, but your hand will always warm up, and then you let that fish go. I know I caught 14-inch crappie this year, and I was with my dad, and I was holding it in the water. I was like, my dad asked me, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm keeping the fish alive while you're getting my phone ready to go so I can take a picture and then let it go." So my hand was a little cold, but it warmed up, so it's still here today. But I guess
Okay.
that kind of wraps up anyways a little bit on replica versus non-replica, unless anyone else has anything to say. But one other thing I wanted to touch on this was some of the species that we target. What would that target length or weight, depending upon the species? What is that target for you guys to get it mounted? We can go walleyes first. I know we talked about it. My number is that dirty 30 mark.
I think that's all of ours, isn't it? I would imagine 30 inches. Garrett, I would still consider mounting yours just because of how fat it was, but
Yeah, I'm thinking of maybe eventually. We'll see.
give it a little while. Like Noah said, that's the benefit of taking pictures and getting a replica is that if you're uncertain about it, you don't have to.
Yeah,
You can
and
wait
I
a
guess
little while.
one more thing to touch on with the moments is, what do you need for a replica, right? You need the length of the fish, you need the girth of the fish in its widest spot, and then you need as many pictures as you probably can get, right?
Yeah, you want to take
'Cause-
a bunch of pictures, and if it has anything unique about it, any special markings, make sure you're getting. Just take a ton of pictures.
Yep.
'Cause-
The more the better.
Yeah.
And clear quality pictures is going to be your best bet. Your phones nowadays do a really good job of taking pictures. You use cameras if you got them on a boat too. I mean, having as many pictures. I think that rainbow trout I talked about, I want to get mounted. I have like 23 pictures of it on my phone, and of both sides in case I want to decide on which side I want it to be on. That way I know the exact spot pattern. Not that I'm ever probably going to know what its exact spot pattern is, but I think as close as you can get it would be sweet. So you for sure need the length and the girth, and then as many pictures as you can. And that's why you guys always ask me for my tape measure. I always carry a soft-sided tape with me just for a girth measurement in case I need it.
You never know.
Never know. You never know when you're going to catch a big fish.
The person that's doing your fish, the taxidermist, isn't going to complain to you that you have too many pictures. Put it that way.
Exactly.
He'll never
They're gonna
complain to
complain
you
if
that
you
you have
don't-
too many.
Yep, they're going to complain if you don't have enough.
So
Even if you give them 1,000.
he'll probably tell you to limit it down. But
Be realistic, Garrett. If you have 1,000 pictures of one fish on your phone, I'm going to call you some words.
Garrett's gonna get a fish mounted. And he's gonna come in with 1,000. What are those cameras called that you click them and it, obviously flashes.
Polaroids.
Yeah, he's gonna come with like 1,000 Polaroids and hand them to him.
You know how expensive that would be? It's
Oh
like
my
$20 a pack of Polaroids.
Just ask Megan.
Yeah, I should take some pictures of it. I lost my train of thought. It
Size
was
of
something
fish.
it was something else I was going to say too, but it'll come back to me. It was on tape measures or something like that. Oh, no, I didn't remember what it was. I'm going to talk another story on my dad since I've done that in the last like 3 episodes. I'm going to keep that train going. Talk about being prepared. This is why I'm always prepared with a net and why I'm always prepared to tape measure. My
Don't
dad.
emphasize always too much.
Yeah,
Hey.
I don't know about that. Where was our net for your sturgeon?
Okay.
Yeah. You said always.
Nowadays, that was 3 years ago. Nowadays, I'm always prepared. Anyways, this is where I got it from. We'll just say that. My dad brought his boat up to get it looked at up in Orr, which is, I don't know, northeastern Minnesota. And he got it done. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to take it on the lake, go fishing for a little bit and just make sure everything runs right." So we went to a nearby lake. He ends up hooking into the biggest walleye he's ever had in his life, gets it to the boat and doesn't have a net in the boat because he brought it in. He took most of his stuff out of his boat. That way it wasn't sitting outside or whatever at the dealer. So he didn't have a net, and he hooks into his walleye. He said it beat 30 because he's caught some upper 20s before. It beat 30, didn't have a net. So I'm like, "Dad, you always got to have a net." So he went and bought one the next day, but bought a new one the next day. That way he had two. But
Crafty, how does it feel to lose big walleyes?
Even when you have a net.
You guys didn't know, Crafty is the king.
I'm notorious
we've all lost big fish.
losing big walleyes.
I've
I
lost.
don't know how many big fish I've honestly lost. One
lost 3 walleyes last year.
one that was like to the point where like I could cry when it came off. I didn't even see it. You just know when you hook into them, you know. But there was one. Another one when I was really young, but not any recently. Then again, I guess that just puts it that I don't catch big fish.
No, we'll touch on that on a very soon future one. We'll tell some of these stories on some of the big fish we've lost. I have like 5 or 6 on the top of my head of different species of ones that man, if I would have caught them, it would have just shattered personal best. But we'll leave that for another day. Back on topic, length of species. We talked about walleyes. What about crappies for you guys?
16.
Depending out of the body of water I caught it in, maybe a 15, but probably 16.
I'll probably go with that 16 too. It depends on if I get like 3 15s or 4 15s in one day, then maybe I'll do those all together.
Yeah, that'd be another thing for sure. If I caught like 3 or more that were 15 plus, I'd probably get them all replicated on a big log or something.
Let's just be honest. I won't do anything under 15. We'll put it that way. But
No.
16 would be that mark. And will I hit 16 ever? I'm gonna have to be in some interesting places to hit that 16 mark, or just get really, really dang lucky.
Hey, we know where to
hard
go.
to find it.
We know where to
where-
go.
I know where to go. It's just getting there is
Yeah,
hard.
getting there is a trek.
Exactly. So that's for crappies.
Bluegill?
Yeah, bluegills. 11.
Mine would be 11, but the same thing like Noah said before. If I caught like probably 4 or 5 over 10 and a half inches, I might get a big replica of them.
I don't really have a interest in bluegills, so
They're big pie plates, man. Come on.
You tell me if you caught an 11-inch bluegill, you wouldn't get it mounted?
When their head like folds in and it like folds under the top of their body, like you can't tell me that doesn't look cool.
no, the fish that I'd get mounted would be walleye, crappie, big laker if I caught one, and probably a perch, and those 4 would probably be it.
Really?
That's interesting.
One
That's
let like that's like the fish that we catch here. Like if we went up and caught like Arctic char, I'd probably catch mount the smallest one I caught.
That's
We need to clarify something. When we keep saying mount, we'd get a replica.
Yes,
Yes.
same thing.
No.
Ralphie, what was
I
your
mount it
bluegill?
up on the wall. I don't paint a replica on my wall, Jared.
I mean, when I'm kind of in the same boat as Garrett, but not. I'm in the same boat as Garrett, but not so much as Garrett. Like, if that makes any sense. So, like, if I caught an 11-inch bluegill, yes, I'd probably mount it. But
His
like
internet's
in Jared's case, where you caught a bunch of 10s or whatever, I don't know if I'd mount. I don't know. Bluegills I'm a little iffy on because I'm more of a walleye, perch, and all the different kinds of trout.
Yeah, I understand.
I-
I'm big on the multi-species, man. If I get a giant sucker, I'd probably put that sucker on my wall, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's all dependent. I mean, you could catch a third. I remember when my brother, my dad, and I went fishing on Lac Seul, just north of Minnetonka. My brother caught a 28-inch walleye. It was a nice walleye, but it was ugly. Oh, was it ugly? It was gray. It looked like it was sick. It wasn't like perky or anything. It was just like a slob. And if I caught an 11-inch bluegill, but I had no colors, well, what's the point? You get it to show it off, but if there's nothing to show off except its size, well, then throw it back.
That's an interesting take on it. I don't know.
I guess I've never
I'm a
thought about
size
it that
guy.
way.
That's
I agree.
honestly kind of why I don't want to get that. Why I haven't gotten that other one mounted too either.
No,
That 28-inch walleye.
Yeah, one was kind of pale.
Yeah.
How big was that rainbow trout you caught? 18?
18 and a half.
Okay.
See, now with rainbows too, I've caught way bigger out of Superior.
Exactly. So if you caught an 18-inch rainbow that looked just
Yeah.
like a regular rainbow, would you mount it?
No, but that one's partially the body of water was out of too.
That's true.
Colors and body of water for that one. But so I understand that, especially with trout too. Like I've caught a 28 and a half inch steelhead in a river before. And that was a giant,
So
but
that's,
I don't know. That's a big fish.
Yeah, that's Garrett's.
it just doesn't have color though. It's black on top and then it like fades. It's not really like that golden color.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always a story that goes behind these too, right? You always remember the story of the fish that you're gonna put on your wall. Because it's probably gonna be super exciting and something you're not gonna forget.
That would be the well, there's two reasons. First reason is because that fish is really fat for its size.
It's huge.
It was
It's
huge.
estimated like 12 to 13 pounds.
It was ginormous. And the second reason would be the story behind how we caught it. And okay, why are you pulling up embarrassing pictures now?
Mount that one, Jared.
That's not that big.
21-inch small.
While you're on the bass there,
Wait, pull that back up.
What would be a bass?
That was your 21-inch smallie off Lake Vermilion.
No,
No,
it
it's
wasn't.
not.
That was
No, 19-inch. 19-inch.
No, that was off. That was at my cabin.
at
That
your
one-
cabin. That first fish you caught that year.
Yeah, my big smallie were in my fishing jersey that day. That one I almost did. Like if I would have more pictures of it, I honestly would think about it because that was huge. It was
Well-
fucking got a belly.
Well, how big would the small you have to be for you guys,
Oh,
or a largie? Both of them.
I would say that out of Minnesota, I would never mount a largemouth bass because if I'm mounting a largemouth bass, it's going to be over 10 pounds.
Go down south.
So I'd have to go down south to get it. So I'd be going on like a special trip to get it. But a smallmouth, I don't even know.
No, I remember that.
Yep, I do. Garrett's going through his archives.
Yeah,
Mine was
I don't
bigger.
know. I don't know if it would have to be. It'd have to be over 20 inches for sure, and probably have to be over 5 pounds.
That's it.
That's pretty big for a smallmouth.
It is. Mine would have to be a 7-pounder.
Oh, a 7-pound smallmouth in Minnesota?
Well, I'm not saying it's in Minnesota.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's a little different. If we're talking Minnesota,
Mississippi River. I was talking to a guy who was catching 6-pounders out of it last year.
it would be a very. I don't know. There would have, if I ever did get a smallmouth mount, there would have to be a very unique story behind it, or it would have to be massive.
Yeah. There was one on the Sturgeon Bay, that big bass tournament in Sturgeon Bay on off of Green Bay. One guy caught an 8.72 last year.
Holy God. Yeah, like see, I'd probably get that mounted.
Thing was giant, and I think there was like 2 others over 8 that day. So there's that. I don't know. For me, that would have to be that. And then I agree with the large. It'd have to be over 10 pounds. I'm not a big bass guy, to be honest, which is against the norm of the nation. I like smallies a lot, but I'm not a big largemouth guy. I'll go fishing. They're fun to catch, but I think they're super easy to catch. And people are going to hate me for saying that. But I'm not saying they're all easy to catch. I'll go fish them in early May when they're up shallow and they can fish them with a jig, and that's fun. That's a blast when you can go catch 70 of them a day. But
That'd be a sweet
that'd be a day.
That would be cool one.
What about you,
So-
Crafty? What are your bass mounts? Would you ever get one?
Largie, probably the 10. I don't know if I'd ever get one, but the smallie, like that one in Canada I caught was pretty nice.
Yeah, you caught a nice one in Canada last year.
Yeah, I mean, it had really cool colors. It was super green. It wasn't very much of a bronze one. So I thought that was cool. Am I going to get it mounted? No. I don't know. I think that in order for myself to mount a fish, it either has to be an absolute mondo. So it's either got to be huge or it's got to be really unique. And otherwise, like a 28-inch walleye or a 29-inch walleye or, a 15-inch crappie, I just don't see a point in doing those ones.
I don't either. I can agree with you on that.
Something about them sets them apart from the others. So I guess when it comes to smallie, probably 21. 22.
20,
Somewhere.
22, 21, something like that. I think they're more on weight on bass, to be honest.
Yeah, probably at least a 6 or 7 pounder.
Yeah.
Probably.
And I'm always big on inches. I don't know why. I think that's a relatively better measurement for fish just because the time of year can make such a big play in weight on fish.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can say, oh, I'm going to go catch 12-pound walleyes that are 26 inches, which is awesome that you can catch a 12-pound, 26-inch walleye. But I can tell you right now, it's going to be over in Green Bay on the Fox River and this time of year, or Rainy River, or out in Michigan. So it's I don't want to say it's easier to catch them, but it's easier to catch them this time of year than any other time of year. So I think that's why I'm a big inches guy typically, is because a 30-inch fish is going to be giant in April, and it's still most likely going to be bigger than the 28-incher in April. But you catch it a 28 in April and then a 30 in August. Well, the 30 is going to weigh less, but it's going to be longer. So I'm on the inches train, but that's just me.
I feel like Garrett's a person that would never mount a bass ever in his life.
I used to bass fish all the time. I like bass fishing. I want to get back into it.
You can't deny it's not. It's fun. It is fun.
It is fun.
It is. I agree with Noah. It's definitely, for largemouth especially, it's way easier than walleye fishing per se. I mean, I know lakes I can go to. I literally throw a jig with a trailer, like Noah said, in shallows, and we can catch 70, 80 largemouth a day with ease.
It's kind of like musky fishing, but where you catch something.
Bass fishing is
That comment just
opposite of musky fishing.
rattled Noah's soul.
Dude.
All right.
My first 50 I'm going to put on the wall.
Can we get to the best subject of the day?
If you say burbot, I swear.
Muskies.
Trout?
Big four. Brook, brown, lake, rainbow.
Rainbow.
Browns, that would have to be something out of Lake Michigan.
In my opinion, now you guys might not agree with this. And granted, we're talking replica mounts now. For me, size doesn't matter.
Even for Lakers?
The one exception would maybe be Lakers, okay? But in all other instances, size does not matter. If it's cool, it's going on the wall.
I would not mount a Laker unless it was over 25 pounds.
Okay, well, forget about Lakers.
Yeah, Lakers, different story.
Okay.
Bulls, Brookies,
yeah.
Browns.
Then yeah, I probably agree with you. Doesn't really matter on size. It's the uniqueness of the fish,
Mhm.
along with the body of water you caught it on. But yeah,
Because that's the other thing too is, I mean, besides Lakers, the other three, Brook, Brown, and Rainbow, they don't really get too terribly big around here unless you go down.
Unless you go to Lake Superior.
Yeah,
Unless you go to Great Lakes, we'll put it that way.
yeah, any Great Lake, I guess.
So there's that. Muskie, my first 50 will probably be up on the wall, but after that it'll probably be like 52-ish, 54.
I'm fully convinced
A stud.
I'm fully convinced I'll never catch one.
Just gotta fish with me.
I've done that 3 times, Noah.
3 times not enough.
You were literally almost dying the one day we had a follow.
I
I'm
need
sorry.
rotator cuff surgery after.
Here went one time for half a day. That's nothing.
For anyone
2
that
days in a row
loves
where you're doing 15 hours a day, then you can talk.
for anyone that loves
I don't
musky
wanna
fishing, yeah, for anyone that loves musky fishing, like I get it. And I'm sure if I ever did catch one, I'd be hooked. But holy man, talk about boring.
Literally.
Oh my gosh. You literally have days where you go with people and they'll be like, oh my God, we fished for 14 hours and we saw a shadow of one in the weeds. That was such an amazing day. And I'm sitting and I'm just
I wouldn't
sitting
go
there
that far, but
and I'm just sitting there like, that was just the biggest waste of time. Like I said, once I catch one, I'm sure I'll love it and I'm sure I'll be hooked. But until then, I don't know. And like you said, the days we went, we really didn't do that bad. Like I had to follow the one day.
those weren't
And then-
great days.
It
were
went great, but then
bad.
I had to follow that northern too. That was the biggest northern I've ever seen in my life. That thing was huge.
Yeah, it was
40
big.
plus for sure.
It
For
was
sure.
big.
It was huge. I don't know. I still don't understand why it didn't hit. It still rattles me to this day. It was
Right.
full on. I've never even like seen a fish swim after something so fast. And it got like 3 inches away from it and then just complete 90. Gone. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Just a bad fish.
You don't got to tell me that. I know that.
Yeah, Jared's just bad. And I think we might leave that there. Just leave that at the end. Let everyone think how bad Jared's just bad at fishing and call it good.
That's fine.
All right. Well, anybody have any final thoughts, closing thoughts on mounting fish, replicas, any fish that we missed? I know we missed some like pike we talked about, but we're not big pike guys. Well, I can start being 40, 42, 44. That'll be up there for me. But
I would say the only thing I have to add is whether you decide to get a replica or a real mount. We've talked about a bunch of sizes that we would mount, but I mean, it's all in your opinion. If you have a special story that goes behind the fish, you can mount a 12-inch walleye. I mean, it's all up to you. If you're happy with it, then that's all that matters. So, I mean,
we'll start
Yeah.
crying with that comment.
what?
So I'm gonna start crying with that comment.
I mean, that's the truth. I mean, if you're
It is
happy
the
with
truth,
it,
though. It is.
if you're happy with it, that's all that matters. So, I mean, but I would encourage you, and I would think we would all encourage you to start thinking about getting replicas over skin mounts.
I'll agree with that. Anything else from you two?
Nope.
No? Doing the special
Sorry.
close, Noah?
All right, Jared, close it on. We're done.
All right, we're all done. With the coronavirus, everyone out there, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, keep her tuned. Cheers, everyone.